Napoleon was, and forever will be, one of the greatest generals throughout history, and as such gained a tremendous amount of paintings throughout his story. Today, I'll be demonstrating how the artist's use of colors, lighting, and depth represent Napoleon's power, influence, and general presence on the world stage, in both the height of his reign and the lowest of it. Part 1. The Rise of the General. This is the painting called Bonaparte at Le Pont de Arros. It was painted in 1796 by the French artist Antoine Giraud and represents the very start of Napoleon's career, as it is after his very first military victory. The colors are diluted, not very bright, with the only light being that from somewhere off in the distance. Note that his outfit is primarily blue, with red and white being accented colors. The colors of his nation and his flag that he carries. He is positioned at the front of the frame with the burning fight he just won behind him. He is merely a general of France at this point with one win under his belt, and thus the painting represents this with a modest, yet accurate depiction. The Battle of Lodi. This is an 1804 historic painting by the French artist Louis-François Lejeune, a common artist we will see in this video essay. This is the battle the previous painting was representative of, and will be a driving theme on many of Napoleon's paintings. Did you see him yet? He's a little hard to spot. Let me zoom in. There he is. The lighting here is much brighter and shines on him as he points toward the battle, rallying his men. His horse is a bright white, contrasting the browns that overwhelm the painting. He's in the back left of the foreground, while the battle happens in the background, forward right, showing the distance from the large battle scene. Part 2. The Egypt Campaign. This trio of paintings starts with the Battle of Mount Tabor by artist Louis-François Lejeune, the Battle of the Pyramids by Antoine Jean Gros, and Bonaparte visits the plague victims in Jaffa, also by Antoine Jean Gros. Similar to Louise's other paintings of the battle scenes, we see the massive battling happen all around Napoleon as the light bathes him in a glow of light, giving him a higher form of importance and gratitude to anything else on the battlefield. The Battle of the Pyramids is very interesting to me. We see Napoleon more closely with his men behind him, and the pyramids way behind him. We see red begin to overcome his blue coloration as he does a Roman salute to his comrades. The Ottoman natives below and sunk into a corner. Bonaparte visits the plague victims in Jaffa. This one is a little awkward to talk about, as historically this is a very disputed thing if he actually did this. He most likely didn't. But we're here to talk about the art. Here we see many sick, dying, and ill people sulking away, tucked into the corners. Dark yellows and browns overwhelm the picture, the spotlight of light on Napoleon, who even touches one of the victims while everyone else shies away. He's in the center of the foreground here with the French flag far, far away, representing how he's in a faraway place. Chapter 3. Napoleon becomes first consul for life. Here we see Napoleon, after he helped overthrow the government, made him the most powerful man in France as first consul for life, basically president forever. Here we see him with the articles of new legislations he plans on passing. His outfit is pure red with white, no blue to speak of. White is of nobility and status, and red is of power and passion. Calming blues have no claim over Napoleon now, as his hunger for more control only grows. Chapter 5. Napoleon crosses the Alps. Napoleon leading the army over the Alps is by Louis-François Lejeune. What to say about this one? One of the most famous pictures of Napoleon, and for good reason. I mean, just look at it. The colors, the lighting, the unabashed aura that this image gives off. Firstly, we see Napoleon gain his blue coloration back, as is the outfit for a general, whose steed is of a bright white with his troops marching behind him. In the far, far corner, we can see Hannibal on a stone engraving, yet another famous military leader who crossed the Alps, some of the tallest, most dangerous mountains in the world. We also see Napoleon point up to the sky, as sky is indeed the limit for him. Someone is crazy enough to march his entire army through a mountain range to surprise the Austrians. Chapter 6. Emperor Napoleon. The Coronation of Napoleon by Jean-Louis David. What can I say about this piece? Well, I can say quite a lot, as I have written an entire essay on this one piece alone, but to not recap too much, the light shines on Napoleon as he puts the crown on his own head, as the Pope can do nothing but watch. His wife beneath him in equally beautiful regalia. The absolute presence he has as the centerpiece of this artwork, golds, reds, and little blues, as he takes over France as emperor. Everyone else can do naught but watch, secluded in the darkness, with drab, muted colors. But his are brighter than everyone else's. Plus, this painting is actually huge. It's 20 feet by 32 feet rounded down. At this point in time, this was Napoleon's world, and everyone else was just living in it. Chapter 7. Napoleon beats Austria again. Napoleon receiving the keys of Vienna by Anne-Louise Godot de Rosy-Troison. Here we see Napoleon after yet another victory against Austria, a common theme we will see a lot in this video essay. Here we see Napoleon's white horse that we see in almost every painting with him. Honestly, I wish he had a name. With a spotlight on him, and the religious leaders behind the governor bending over and handing him the key to the city. That Napoleon casually takes. Almost everyone has shocked, if not worried, expressions as Napoleon has won yet another city in a single battle. Chapter 8. Peace? The meeting of Napoleon I and Tsar Alexander I at Tilsit by Adolphe Rohan. After a long string of victories over the Russians, Prussians, and Austrians, Alexander goes to make peace with Napoleon. In this piece, we see an overcast sky with the only patch of light bathing Napoleon. Almost every piece of his where he is winning or has won features this detail. He wears blue and white opposed to red and white, showing both peace and calm. Now, note where he is. Dead middle, not off to the side, not close to the middle, dead center, as everyone needs to come to him for peace. Chapter 9. Power Dynamics and Weddings. The Oath of the Saxons by Pietro Benvenuti. This is a big subversion we we're used to. Both sides bathed in utter darkness as Napoleon stretched out his hand to make a deal with a defeated foe, a deal of collaboration to defeat a higher entity. But such a deal is one that the Saxons need to take, as they all reach their hands out toward him. A man lays dying in the corner. Napoleon's allies are confused about the deal and what it could mean, while the leader, the one who must take the oath, is being pressured by his comrades, his arm physically made to reach out toward Napoleon. Here, Napoleon's might is absolute, akin to an unstoppable demon or monster, and this is his Faustian bargain. Napoleon and Pius VI at Fontainebleau by David Wilkie. Here we see Napoleon planning on divorcing his wife, but needs the approval of the church. The Pope sits opposed. This is not favorable or a good sign. He lets out soft resistance to it, as the light that usually basks in Napoleon's chest now bathes the Pope, as Napoleon is half in shadow, his virtues soaked into the darkness for yet more power. The Divorce of the Empress Josephine by Henri Frédéric Chopin. As it says, this is a painting of Napoleon's formal divorce with his wife, that if you remember, he rose to power with, in order to get with another queen, so his heirs will be of loyal blood. That spotlight of light now on poor Josephine as she clutches her necklace, signing the divorce papers, her aides reading it over and comforting her, as Napoleon, look at him. He looks bored, almost angry at this whole thing. White dominates this image, as Josephine is the main actress here, in the center. Everyone else is bored or disinterested, as Napoleon sits shunted in the background, almost brooding at the whole thing. The Wedding Banquet of Napoleon and Marie Louise by Alexander Dufour. Let's play Find Napoleon again. Don't worry, I got you. There he is. This piece shows Napoleon bathed in red, something he is only bathed with when he makes big power plays in politics, like when he first became first consul, when he became Emperor of France, and now with his arranged wedding to Marie, that he had to divorce his wife for. This is the overture to their wedding. Everyone here looks small. While Napoleon is mostly centered, the building itself is massive and grand, making him look tiny in comparison, much like the history of the royals that Napoleon is marrying into. He gets along with his soon-to-be wife well enough, it seems, but everything here is so big it's almost impossible to tell. The Wedding of Napoleon and Marie Louise by Georges Rouget. A repeat almost of his crowning ceremony as Emperor of France. I don't have many new things to impart here other than the importance of lighting. It's incredibly bright around not just Napoleon, but everyone in the center, forcing your attention to them. The Pope blesses the wedding as well, making Napoleon actually need to respect a religious leader as well. Red and gold dominate this image, power and wealth more than anyone could possibly imagine being funneled right into this room with this grandiose marriage. Chapter 10. Napoleon invades Russia. The Battle of Smolensk by Jean-Charles Lingois. This scene is breathtaking for one, a burning orange and yellow sky in the background with a lack of spotlight of focus. You might miss Napoleon at first. horses are dead as a massive army marches behind him. He doesn't look behind, only forward, and assured of his victory, he continues, yet no joy on his face. The others mourn their losses, some lay bleeding, some continue fighting, yet he continues moving forward, as his conquest is that of legends, he convinces himself, and that nobody can stop him. Napoleon on the Battlefield of Yalu by Etienne Gingras. Here we see a worrying sign of things to come. Napoleon's beam of light is no longer shining, his horse no longer a brilliant white. This battle was costly, very costly, and winter has just begun. Black plumes of smoke suffocate the sky, no longer orange and fiery and passionate, just cold and lonely. He looks away from the carnage and continues pushing forward, not even looking at it. A single man salutes him. The others are miserable, cold, and fatigued. But Moscow is soon to come, and with that, he'll win the city, the capital of Russia. Napoleon's Retreat from Moscow by Adolf Northern. Here we see the spotlight of light again shining on Napoleon, but this time it's almost mocking as he turns away from it. He took the city, he got Moscow, but nobody was there. All of his power, all of his wealth, all of his plans and gains, for not a city on fire. Now as the winter rages, he must leave his empty prize behind. The cold snow and blank sky leave a sense of apathy in this. His horse starving and barely alive, his men equally as hungry. The light here is a mockery of his win, and he's left to stew in it. Chapter 11. Nowhere to go but up. Napoleon I at Fontainebleau on March 31st, 1814. That's the actual name of this piece, by Paul Delors. This is Napoleon at a low point, a very low point. He just lost the biggest army in the world at the time, and now he must abdicate and go into exile. He sits in his chair with his blue coat and white undershirt. Behind him is the red that covers everything else. His power, his drive for it, blinded him, as it does blind the walls. Now without it, he's as lowly as any other man. The power he once had is barely there, peeking out from his sleeve and undershirt. And now he must stew in his defeat. Napoleon's Return from Elba by Charles D. Steuben. And he's back to it. After a not so long stay in exile, he's back. He's really back. Upon the soldiers seeing the Emperor of France return, they gladly rejoin his ranks. Sent to capture him via command of the puppet monarchy that the French famously hate, he is welcomed with open arms. His ray of light returns, shining on him as his white, blue, and red is properly balanced within his outfit. They clamber onto him, and everyone reaches out their hands to him, throwing hats into the air with mass celebration as their emperor has returned. The Battle of Waterloo made by William Sadler II. This one could be tough to talk about. Firstly, it's a massive battle scene that's easy to get lost in. All the soldiers seem so small as the intense battle rages. An explosion goes off in the center. Thousands upon thousands are fighting and dying in desperate last stand from the French. But where's Napoleon? Well, he is here. He's just way over here, leading the desperate final charge behind enemy lines. This whole painting is a large slathering of red on an overcasted sky filled with smoke, blues barely peeking out, as this is Napoleon's last and final hurrah. Napoleon on board the Bella Horizon by William Quiller Orchardson. Here's a moment where Napoleon discovers what is to become of him. After his loss at Waterloo, he is to be banished to St. Helena, as a prisoner not allowed to stay in his home. The colors are gone, even Napoleon draped in dark browns, covering his white underclothes. His close aides look at him, wondering what he could possibly do. How could anyone handle such a terrible fate? War, the Exile, and the Rock Limpet by William Quiller Orchardson. Here is Napoleon, being shown his new home at St. Helena. Being ushered to his new log house to live out the rest of his days in exile, the sun sets on his legacy, bathing everything in red, oranges, and golds. His power, his strength, his influence reflecting back at him. A lifetime of war, death, and victory stains the ground as he stands just off center. In the back, a British guard stares, wondering what will become of him after this. Napoleon's Tomb by Horace Vernet. The final art piece to talk about, the last one, Napoleon's Tomb. Dead in exile, the ray of light that has followed him shines once more. To his left are those that still love him, that weep for his death upon seeing his grave. To the right are all those that died with and for him, whose he now ascends to meet, those he inspired, led, and who sadly died under his command. And they do not hold anger or hate, for they are merely happy to see their old commander come back into charge. There is no bright reds here, only golds, blues, and sickly greens of death. Napoleon is gone. Now with the rest of legends, he ascends into something greater, a legend one to be remembered for years to come. So of the greatest generals that has ever lived.